Dog Art Studio, and I'm here in my studio. I have my tarot cards at the ready, so I'm just gonna show you what's up today. Oh, I haven't lit my candles. Gotta do that. Gotta ask the ancestors to come. Ring the bell 3 times for magic to clear the air. I'm just gonna light my candles. One for the source. One for the goddess. You can name whatever pantheon speaks to you. Like, you don't have to stick to something specific, especially if you're a solitaire, right? So mote it be. So today's cards were interesting. We started with the Fool here in the beginning, within. So lots of new things, new scenarios coming up, doors opening within ourselves. We're invited to take a playful attitude to that. However, death reversed outside. So there will be people outside our influence who will try and sucker us back into the past. Hey Jay, thanks for joining me here at 3 Dog Art Studio. So I'm just going over the tarot cards for today. And the advice is star. So stay hopeful, stay positive, stay strong. You've got it in you. No matter who comes up to you, maybe old toxic relationships, friendships that are not working out, lovers that are difficult, relatives, all those things can fall under this death reverse card because it's outside. Good morning, Shay. So today I've given my ancestors some of my apple cake. It's made out of crab apples. It's one of my favorite things. It's nice and tart. But apples are ruled by Venus, and flour is also wheat. These are elements of love magic. So a simple love magic spell, not necessarily to coerce someone to love you, because I don't recommend that at all. It is very tasty, but instead to try and encourage positivity between you and another person. And what you can do is, goodness, I'm having trouble today. What you can do is look up the ingredients of what you're making and turn it into something really cool, right? So sugar is also ruled by Venus, if you haven't guessed. Flour has a lot of love energy in it. Salt grounds things out. Eggs are very magical. There's a lot of spells for eggs. They also clear out negativity. One of these things, if you're not feeling really good, or if you can't fall asleep because you're feeling sad or depressed, one of the things that you can do after a full moon is put an egg underneath your bed and then leave it there for 3 days and then bury it in the ground, because the egg soaks up the energy, and it's also kind of a representation of the mama goddess, right? And so eggs are in the cake, and crab apples. I already talked about apples being connected to Venus, which has to do with love. Cinnamon, which is connected to juniper, cinnamon is connected to Jupiter and is also like a fire element. So it kind of heats things up, makes it a little bit more passionate, and also brings you luck, right? And so when you're baking or when you're making art, it doesn't matter what you're doing, you're creating magic. If you put all your energy into what you're doing, your magical energy, and put it into that item becomes magical itself by kind of a transference of egregore. So I've talked about raising energy. I just wanted to talk some more about that because some of you people who are just starting into the idea of witchcraft and stuff like that, that is like one of the most important things to do when you're doing magic. So I like to think of it as tuning into the field of electricity. Your nerves are electric, right? Your synapses fire and they're electric. There's a lot of electrical energy inside yourself, and there's like a field, if you pay attention to it, around you, around your aura, and there's a field of energy in everything. Your dog, your cat, your stones, right? And all this knowledge that's been passed down about certain things and the energy that's imbued in certain items is wisdom that has been gathered through the ages. So, for instance, obsidian is excellent for scrying, but it's also good for protection, which is really good. And my obsidian necklace is actually a crone stone. It has a hole in the center, so it's extra lucky for me. If I wanted to do some scrying, one of the things I could do is actually look through the hole, and the mirror of the obsidian itself kind of changes my perspective of what's going on. So it's kind of a cool little spell to do with just stuff that I have here, but it's the energy that I'm putting out through the stone and the stone itself, the energy in the stone itself, that makes the magic work, right? So if you're just starting out with energy work, this is a simple thing to do. Create a ball of energy between your two hands. Just focus on it and feel that ball coming to life, right? Just do this in a quiet space, and then after a while you actually feel this center of energy between your two hands, and that is simply raising energy. There's other ways you can do it. You can do it through dance. You can do it through sex. You can do it through making a bonfire, dancing around the bonfire. You can do it through walking through the woods and becoming really aware of the energy in the trees and kind of soaking it in and processing it. Never steal energy from anyone. If you're doing that, you have become an energy vampire, and that is just bad juju all around. It's not a good idea. Because you don't want to take on somebody's negative energy, nor do you want to take away energy from somebody who's an empath who doesn't have boundaries, right? That's just not a good idea. So, and if you've been talking to a person and suddenly you feel like all your energy is gone, chances are they've drained you of energy. So be very aware. That's kind of a red flag for a witch. And also with your hair, just be very careful who your hairstylist is, because your hair is a conduit of energy. If you've ever had static hair, that's like an example of that. If you have somebody negative working with your hair, they could easily take your energy and protect your hair, because people can use that against you in spells. Again, not a good idea. Bad juju. Just don't do it. I'm just telling you, just be careful about your head because it's like a sacred place. That's where, your connection to the universe is. So there's my crone wisdom for the day. I started with that instead of starting painting, but I'm going to do a little bit of painting today. And I decided I was going to work on my paper crown princess. And today I am going to continue with the fur. You might think, wait, Lydia, the fur's already done. How could you be doing more? Well, there is in layering techniques, the beauty is that if you add another layer to the fur, it becomes even more realistic. So I'm using burnt umber, just a wee bit with a lot of oil, a lot of linseed oil. Sometimes I use walnut oil. Today I think I'm using linseed oil. And I just give it a wash, just a gentle little wash. I was watching the Bob Ross documentary, can't you tell? Yeah, though I am no Bob Ross, I can tell you that right from the get-go. Yeah, and even her hand, I feel that her hand needs a little bit of work, not a lot. I'm just going to cover it with burnt umber. And her clothing, that is burnt sienna. We're using burnt sienna. Burnt sienna is a little bit warmer than burnt umber. That's why I kind of like it for glazing. You have to let the paintings stand for about 2 days before you do this. And I'm going to do that with her hair. So that's why I said this is still a kind of work in progress, because I just wanted to do one more layer on this lady. Shay says the cake sounds good. It is good. It is. I might post the recipe. I do a kidney friendly recipe. I make my own baking powder out of cream of tartar and baking soda, but you can use regular baking powder. I don't know if I told you, but my husband suffers with chronic kidney disorder, chronic kidney disease, and so I have to be really careful about the food that I make for him, which is fine. I've managed to figure it out. It's taken me a good month. So basically, when you're painting fur, start with the bottom and then go up, because your brush is going to narrow out at the top. So you just brush up, kind of. And again, have one brush that's light, one brush that's dark, so you don't mix them up. And after I finish this layer, then I'm almost done this painting. And then fix the sky and the jewels, just small details, just tiny details. Maybe work a little bit more on her hands, but overall. So, I was going to talk more about the astrology today. The moon is still in Cancer. It's at 16 degrees, so it's kind of in the middle. So today, it's still kind of, cocooning, comfort zone, domestic stuff. Work on cleaning up. The moon the moon sextiles with Uranus and Taurus, so that kind of matches the Fool card, where we're kind of brought into this new place, this new experience that's different than anything we've been in before. And it allows us to take a look at things from a fresh perspective emotionally. Opportunities come up when you're open to what the universe has in store for you. So, sometimes it's time to turn around and try something new. The moon squares with Venus in Libra, so if you happen to be a people pleaser, this is not a good time. So if you have this desire to people please, step back, give it a pause, don't jump into it, just wait it out, think about it, connect with the invisibles about it, just let time process, check with the I Ching or connect with your favorite reader. They might help you as well, or even your favorite therapist. Mars is still opposing Neptune now directly, so there's a lot of insecurity. There's this great big feeling of insecurity still out there, right? Especially now. So it's especially intense because it's a direct opposition at this point at 22 degrees. And Neptune is retrograde, so we're invited to step back. We're being asked to step back and really consider what's going on and try to be open to what's happening in our lives and avoid jumping to conclusions. So yeah, try not to do that. And the only way to get over this hump is to work really hard on believing in yourself and having faith in yourself, and hence the star as the advice, right? Hope and faith is what gets you through this crazy time. Doing something that you love, doing something that's creative, taking a walk, being in nature. And try not to judge yourself. As I noticed that a lot of artists in Facebook. So this is the one thing I've noticed in the artist community. People get overwhelmed when someone has more talent than them, right? They join a Facebook group of artists and they see all these posts from wonderful talented artists, and then they suddenly say, oh no, this is too much. I can't compete with these people. But here's the thing, these people have been practicing art for a long time, and very few people are born with a natural talent. And even them, they have to learn how to use oils or whatever medium they're using, even pencils. They have to learn which pencils are darker, which pencils are lighter, or what kind of strokes you need to do in order to get the right shading. It's still a learned experience. And I was watching the Bob Ross documentary and I thought, I admire the fact that he taught the masses how to paint. But I think Insta art is not the answer to becoming a good artist. The answer to becoming a good artist is freaking practice. Challenge yourself. Look at something that you want to achieve. Find artists that you admire. Look and see what they are doing and learn from that, and raise the bar. Constantly raise the bar, saying and tune into what brings you joy. Those two, it's kind of like a balancing act. It's like the opposition between Mars and Neptune, really, when you think about it. Because Mars in Virgo says, be perfect, be precise, focus, focus on your ability to do things, be organized. All those things are, it's do, do, do. And Neptune in Pisces asks you, what is it that brings you joy? What is it that brings you spiritual enlightenment? What is it that makes you feel whole and authentic as a person? And I was always taught that oppositions create an awareness. And I really do believe that. I don't believe that they're the end of the world. I believe that they create an awareness between two polar opposites where you suddenly find temperance, right? Where you alchemy, where you are able to change into something much better and grow and learn through your hardships. And I personally am always trying to do that because I hate being stuck. I hate being stuck. I want to take a good look at my shadow, and sometimes it's really hard to look at my shadow and analyze, am I a good person? Am I a bad person? Right? What does that mean? It doesn't mean the shame or guilt or anything like that. No, it has nothing to do with that. What it has to do is whether I'm being authentic and I have integrity. That is what makes you a good person. That is all, right? And if you treat people in the same way with integrity and honesty and loyalty, then you develop, or I hope I develop, good friendships, and my art reflects that state of mind that I'm in. So there's my 2 cents. So, stay creative this morning, stay magical. I've given you lots of magical advice, and I'll see you tomorrow. Take care.